What is up, you guys? Welcome to session number 43. We're going to dive right in and go and talk about the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve meeting was today. It is now 11:30 Western time here on the West Coast. And, the Fed news just came out. They are unchanging interest rates. They are not, they stopped. They said they're going to stop the interest rate hikes, and they need more data to be able to really cut rates. And we knew it wasn't going to happen today, but they had a message really that wasn't really too optimistic for March. So we're going to dive into the news today. So S&P retreats as Fed says it's not quite ready to cut rates. Stocks fell to their session lows Wednesday after Federal Reserve kept interest rates unchanged but indicated rate cuts may not be on the horizon just yet. Wall Street had hoped for a change in the Fed statement that would signal the central bank may be gearing up to ease monetary policy, and that's what I was just talking about. So, it's really not too optimistic. They came out today. They don't want to get really ahead of themselves like they did in the past meeting when we saw all-time highs, because a lot of investors were confident that the Fed was going to really dive down and cut rates as soon as March. And we saw really choppy market in January. We're at the end of January now. Today is January 31st. So the whole January was like up and down, up and down. So, they really don't want to get ahead of themselves. They don't want to give the investors the idea that they're really going to cut rates in March when, they might not. So here is a statement here. So the Fed removed a clause that read, quote unquote, in determining the extent of any additional policy firming that may be appropriate to return inflation to the 2% over time. Treasury yields fell after the statement was released. Investors were hoping that language would be removed as a signal that rate cuts may take place soon. However, this was the language, quote unquote, the committee does not expect it will be appropriate to reduce the target range until it has gained greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%. So that is their goal, guys. They want inflation to come down to the 2% goal like they have had in the past. They are still, that's their goal, is 2% inflation before they decide to cut rates. Here's another quote here by Chris Rupke. It sounds like Fed officials are not exactly teeing up a first rate cut for the March 2024 meeting. So it sounds like they left rates unchanged today. And it sounds like they do not really want to cut rates as soon as March, and they will see where inflation is at by the April-May meeting. So that is the Fed news. Rates unchanged today, and we're gonna really see we're gonna see how the market is reacting to that news. So let's dive into other news too right now. Alphabet and Microsoft announced earnings yesterday. Shares of Alphabet dropped more than 6% and were on pace for their worst day since October 25th as disappointing ad revenue overshadowed better expected earnings and sales. We also have Microsoft AMD slipping 1.5% and 1.8% based off guidance after posting quarterly results. We have the tech sector really making a statement this month, powered the market, late 2023 and early 2024, and now trading at a relatively high valuation of nearly 20 times its 2024 earnings. That is, that's according to Sam Stovall, Chief Investment Strategist at CFRA Research. So that is pretty much the news, guys. We have the Fed news today. We have, earnings that we had on Google, Microsoft, both are Mogul 30 stocks. Let's go ahead and bring this news to the side here. I also wanted to dive into, I forgot to do this, in the earnings today. We don't really have any earnings that are really in the Mogul 30, we have some big names like MasterCard reports today. We have Boeing reports today. We have MetLife, Aflac, bunch of those stocks are today, but really we are looking for tomorrow, and that is Apple, Amazon, and Meta platforms. And we are waiting for that. This is probably the most nervous day that we have right now, because Apple is a main part of the S&P 500, main part of the QQQs, and if we're stressing on Apple because of their revenue, their supply and demand problems, and if they take a hit tomorrow, especially with this Fed news coming out, and then people not confident on Apple, we could see Apple coming down a lot. And when Apple comes down a lot, that means the S&P comes down a lot. That means the QQQs come down a lot. So we're looking at right now QQQs here. We're looking at the 6-month chart here, and we could see now it made a high at 429.85. We could see it now trading below that 50-day moving average today's trading session. It kind of met it yesterday at the end of the yesterday's trading session, and then today it is now officially crossing below that 50-day moving average after the Fed news today. Let's dive into now the S&P 500. So we see S&P 500 not as volatile as Qs, meeting down towards that 50-day moving average there, still above it. So we are seeing, S&P still, trading above that 50-day moving average, and we'll see if it crosses below that tomorrow when we have more tech earnings lined up. So that is the update on SPY. That is the update on Qs. So let's go ahead and look at this day chart here. We see a very choppy QQQ, day. We see it kind of making a bounce, surprisingly, after that Fed news there, but we'll see if that lasts. Let's go look at the 5-day here. So as soon as, the Fed news started coming out, the Fed meeting, we started seeing it really sell off here, and we saw 5-day 428.84. we see it at a 421. We see the 5-day at a 68 RSI, and that's on the 6-month chart we see it trading Qs at a 44. That's fair value, and I think we might buy 2 shares today, guys. I think we're going to buy 2 shares today of Qs. We're going to unpause that QQQ position and go ahead and lock in 2 more shares here, and that'll put our position at a quantity of 10 shares. So let's go ahead and lock in a 2 share buy here. We really want to see it in oversold values below 30. That's when we'll start unloading and buying more than 2 shares, more than 1 share, more than 3 shares. But right now we're staying still conservative here because we're not sure what the market's going to do due to this earnings season going on right now. So let's go ahead and lock in 2 shares. All right, 2 shares here. Let's go ahead and click buy. We're buying 2 shares. We have the amount, the price to buy these 2 shares at 843.92. Let's go ahead and lock that in. All right, so we got filled at 422.05. That is the price we got it at. We can see our average price now at a 411 and 2 cents. So that moved up from 408. So it moved up $3, and we have 10 shares now of Qs. And we have good open P&L at 2.67%. That's coming down just because the market is reacting towards Federal Reserve news. All right, so now that's Qs. We got Qs over with. That is our Q buy of the day. We unpaused our position. Now let's go to Palantir here. And our Palantir cover call position looks, You know, it looks pretty steady here. We have a Palantir trading at 1672. They're announcing earnings, I believe, February 5th. So we're going to see them really, hopefully, move up. And I hope they don't move up past 1850, because we could keep those shares by February 9th, the expiration of this cover call, and then we could turn around and do another cover call from our premium. But we won't be mad if they do get assigned. We'll collect another $80 profit from the 1770 average price to the 1850 sell price. That is a total of 100 shares. That's one contract. That's what we got in for, is one contract. So that was what we would have to sell, as 100 shares. 100 shares times 80 cents is $80. So that's what we would get appreciation wise if we do get our shares assigned, if the price does go above 1850. If it doesn't, by the expiration, we'll keep our shares and do another covered call. So that's the update on the Palantir position. Now we're going to be diving into the buy of the day. Now we want to go into look at Microsoft and see how they're doing. They announced earnings, and we see it at a 44 RSI level after that earnings play here. And then we saw, let's go ahead and go to Google here and check out their, look at that. So, obviously Google right now is down 6% today. So let's go ahead and look at our Google position here. We see it at, market value 43. We trimmed it, I believe, January 10th, we trimmed that. And so we do want to continue to add back into that position now, since we are seeing it at selling off from the earnings play there. So let's go ahead and lock in a $10 buy of Google here. And we really wanted to see how it would react after that earnings that they announced, and it is down 6% today. So let's go ahead and lock in a Google buy. You can see it at right above the 200-day, going below that 50-day moving average. So let's go ahead and lock in a $10 buy of Google. We got a $10, 0.07027. Let's go ahead and lock that in. All right, so we locked in Google at 142.31. You can see here on the high there, it was at a 154.20. That was the high on the 6-month chart here, and that's a deal right now. We bought it at 142. Not bad. All right, so now I don't think we want to trim the last day of January here. I think we're gonna just take the profits we made this month and conclude them onto the January newsletter we're about to launch in the Discord. So if you guys want those monthly newsletters, it goes over the financial performance of each month, go over to mogulfellows.com, go to membership, click the invite, and get in the Discord, and you could see all the newsletters in there. And you could see the financial performance of each month. You could see, pretty much the balance sheet, income statement, stuff like that of Mogul Fellows and our finance department. So go ahead and go do that if you would like to get in while it is free. If you're not subscribed here yet, please consider subscribing. We pretty much go over everything finance, everything health, everything relationships, brotherhood. We're part of a club here, so we're a great support system. And then go follow our socials. We are on Instagram and TikTok, and then here on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the outro.